Yo, my peoples, what's up? Welcome to the One Stop Co-op Shop. Jason here, and today I have a crowdfunding preview for you. Tiny Epic Crimes. This one is the 13th in the line of Tiny Epic. We at the One Stop Co-op Shop have covered all 12 previous games, and we will continue to cover Tiny Epic as long as they keep producing it. Tiny Epic Crimes is a semi-cooperative or cooperative game for 1 to 4 players in which you are playing police. In your cruisers, you'll be going around the land, spending time, gathering evidence, shaking down mobsters, and ultimately trying to figure out who is the murderer of the day. Tiny Epic Crimes is not a grand story-based game. It's a highly repeatable, abstract experience. You can change the suspect easily for every game. Essentially, what you're doing is engaging in deduction. You begin with 16 suspects, and over the course of the game, you're going to be able to eliminate suspects depending on what clues you get. Did they ride a motorcycle or take their foot? What murder weapon did they use? Are they a boss or an underboss, etc.? As you narrow down the suspects, you'll be able to figure out eventually who did the murder and make your accusation and win the game. In the semi-cooperative game, you have to work with your fellow police just to get a little bit of information, but for the most part, if you get information, you're going to try to keep it as close to your vest as much as possible so that when the end game comes, you can be the one that makes the accusation and claim ultimate victory. Here on the One Stop Co-op Shop, we are all about the solo and cooperative play, so that is what I'm going to be demonstrating here in this preview. I'm going to give an overview and sample a couple of turns, and also mention a few things about the semi-co-op, so that you can figure out if this is worth your backing dollars. We are the One Stop Co-op Shop. We are a gaming empire. We have our YouTube channel and our YouTube stream channel. If you like what you see, like the videos and subscribe to both of those channels. We also have our podcast, which is weekly. We do gaming focused content. We do interviews. We have a lot of fun talking about solo and cooperative games on the podcast. We're on SoundCloud, iOS, Stitcher, wherever you can listen to podcasts. We have our Discord, which is an amazing community of people who like solo and cooperative games, old and new, old favorites, and also previews like this one. So if you want to join, the link is in the show notes. We have our Patreon in which you can contribute and get access to exclusive videos and channels within a Discord. But if you just want to join and be part of an awesome community, go ahead and check us out, the One Stop Co-op Shop Discord channel. We are the One Stop Co-op Shop, your one stop for solo and cooperative gaming goodness. So much of Tiny Epic Crimes comes down to gathering evidence so that you can deduce the murderer. So it's worth spending a little bit of time here. So each of the 16 suspects has 5 different aspects that can be deduced. If you want to figure out what gang they're in, either blue or red, or whether they're a boss or an underboss, you would interact with these mobsters that happen to correspond with tokens on the outside of the board. So if they were over here, then you could only interact with them as an informant and get the blue category. If they were over here, there is neither of the symbols, so they would be useless. All you could do is arrest them. Get them out of here. But they are more valuable when they are corresponding with the symbols right there. The symbols on the board correspond to some of the other clues, so that's independent of the meeples. You can stake out to figure out what kind of transportation they used. You can gather clues to see some other information about them. Or if you want to get back to that meeple, you could throw them in the slammer. There you go, Blue Meeple. You will now tell me a little bit about the murder weapon when I fulfilled your condition. In the 2-player version of the game, which is what I play as a solo player, there will be this many tokens out, and generally you'll have to gather 3 tokens in order to get that valuable information. Higher player counts are going to have more tokens available to you. Once I gather my 3 tokens, then I can advance my deductive skills. So then I would take the card out of the murderer packet, making sure that I don't look at it, and put it in the, in this particular case, the rank finder. Look at that. I would be able to note for myself in the cooperative game that's public knowledge. In the semi-cooperative game, you keep that to yourself. And that would be a little bit of information for you. This is what the card looks like in the back. Yeah, I know, I just revealed the murderer, right? Anyway, so all of the cards are going to have a variation of that so that you can deduce those elements from the back. Also, throughout the course of the game, you'll be able to draw suspect cards and investigate them with the snazzy player token over here. This would allow you to eliminate suspects as well. So the tokens give you affirmative clues. These give you negative clues. All of that is information to figure out who did the crime. In general, in Tiny Epic Crimes, you're going to take 1 movement and 1 action at your destination space on your turn. So let's say that orange is the first player. They're going to go 1, 2 for their movement, taking 2 time. And then they want to take down this mobster who is a witness to the crime. So then they would spend 2 more actions. They would discard this witness back into the bag and earn this token. In the cooperative game, as I acquire tokens for the most part, I would be able to gain rank. And when I hit certain thresholds on the rank track, I would be able to draw some goodies. For the most part, police cards, you start with 2 and you'll gain more along the way. These are one-time bonuses that will allow you to do all sorts of fun stuff. Mostly saving time here on the board. You also start the game with a special power, so you need those because there's not much time, as you saw, to complete everything you need to do. In the competitive game, it works in a similar way. You'll gain rank and gain some goodies, but you'll also be able to get a chance to peer at some of the hidden information that your opponent is hiding from you. So mostly that's in the form of suspect cards. So you'll be able to find out which suspects they have eliminated by progressing on this track. Once you have acquired your token, did all your actions, and increased your rank, you'll be spending that time. So you don't spend time during the turn. You calculate all that at the end of your turn. So then that will be 2 for movement and 2 for the action. I have spent 4 time. It would now be green's turn. So green is going to move 1, and they are going to engage in a stakeout, another kind of action to get another type of clue. So then this is a little bit different. You would make a bid of sorts, 1 through 5, depending on what you thought was down here. So there are 5 stakeout tokens numbered 1 to 5. So if it is equal to or less than my guess, then I get it. I'm going to guess 3. I'm going to spend 3 hours here staking the place out. Yes! So so you would acquire this token and increase your rank. If this was a 4 or a 5, then it would stay right there. In the cooperative game, that is public knowledge. In the competitive game, you can say, I don't know if that was a 4 or a 5, and then someone else would have to come here and check if they really wanted to. And so they would have spent 1 turn or 1 time moving, and then 3 time on the stakeout. Reason being is that they want to go again. So this is a Tokaido type movement if you're aware of that game. The last player in the track is the active player. So if they had spent 3, they would be able to go. If they are on top of the token, since they are the last player, they would be able to go again and take a turn. So that is another thing to manage. In the cooperative game, players can freely take actions along this track. The limiting factor in cooperative is the fact that the officers split up the actions they can do. So only the patrol cop would be able to catch informants, and only the detective will be able to catch witnesses, the tokens on the outer edge. So coordinating that. You go there because there's more informants over there. I'll stay over here and handle some of the clue tokens. That is the key to playing well in cooperative. In the competitive mode, the order there is flipped, literally flipped. So police would be able to take any action available to them. However, they can only take certain actions during the day, like the witness and searching tokens, and they will only take certain actions at night. So talking to witnesses and doing stakeouts. So another thing to manage in terms of the action economy there. As players pass these exclamation points on the time track, they're going to pull events. So events are bad. They will pull you in different directions. So this particular one, throws some fire, arsonists at large. You have an event, the speakeasy bust. You would put more tokens out there and you have to deal with that. There's bank robberies. There's all sorts of stuff that is going to pull you in different directions. They don't need to be solved. It is not a lose condition. They generally will be able to give you little benefits, but sometimes they'll have limitations. So you'll have to deal with it in order to be able to do certain actions or go certain places. So the events really mix things up. At the end of every single player turn, you would draw more mobsters. You were wondering what these dice do. This is exactly what they do. They place mobsters. So if I rolled that 1 and that 3, I would locate the 1 and the 3, and I would add one of the 3 factions of mobsters to that space. If there was already a mobster at that space, then I would add another event card. If the event row was full, which is 3, I would discard suspect cards. Oh no! Less information. You know the timer is ticking then. Play proceeds. Hopefully you'll get some powers that will knock your time back a little bit, save you a little bit, but eventually you're going to get into this area, and that is when a player needs to be able to accuse. And if you get it right, you'll win. If you're the only one that get it right, except you're cooperative or one of the only ones, then you'll win. And cooperative, yeah, win or lose together, or time runs out and the murderer goes free. So that's all you really need to know in order to get started with Tiny Epic Crimes. I hope that I've given you enough information to figure out if this is worth a back for you. In addition, though, I'm going to play a couple of sample turns. So if you want to stay tuned for that, go ahead. If not, the link to the project is in the show notes. All right, so let's do a couple of sample turns, at least until I get an attribute down. So the power for this cop is a workaholic. The workaholic, if I resolve an event on my turn, for your reward, also move your time tracker backwards one. That's what I was talking about before with moving the time track backwards. She's going to try to do that. The detective is a gumshoe. After ending a drive, spend 1 time to peek at any one face-down token on your block. Only once per turn. So you saw how valuable that was in terms of the 1 to 5 and the yes, no with the clues. So being able to suss out the stuff that's not worth my time is also valuable. All the player powers are good. In the cooperative mode, you start with these in a public market. Anybody can use the force cards. In competitive, obviously, you would get those personally. They also start with an event in every version of the game. And this one is Arsonist at Large. I have rolled and placed 2 fire tokens. One is hanging out over here. The other's over there somewhere. And new mobsters will spread the fire. So it doesn't do anything in terms of putting pressure on you. Like if the time passes or if it burns too much, it doesn't get in the way. It's really a goodie. Gaining a suspect card is actually pretty rare. So if I'm able to put out all the fire, then I will get a suspect card. So that's what makes me want to finish these. So much of Tiny Epic Crimes is about scanning the board and seeing where you can get the most done for the least amount of movement. Movement is a total waste of time. Only go far distances if it is truly worth it. So this space offers an opportunity for the patrol cop to do stuff efficiently because they can catch the informant, which is on this row, and they can also stake out on their next turn. So I mixed up the token. That is not the same token as the tutorial, but either way, we are going to move the yellow 1, and let's do the catch the informant this time, which costs us 2, and I would grab this token for myself and gain 1 rank. The informant goes back in the bag, and then I roll my dice to see where the new mobster came out. They come out in 5-3. So then I would just place that right over there. Oh, that's probably the same mobster. What are you going to do? Just for general information, this is the jail. Mobsters don't appear in jail. If you roll 3-3, then they would not appear. Also, you notice that this is a 5x5 grid. If either of these dice were a 6, that's outside the city, the mobster is hanging out over there, they also don't appear. However, as a balancing mechanism, let's say that I had rolled doubles. So let's say I had rolled 5 and 5, then I would place the mobster over here and I would roll again. So that is how you can get cascading mobsters if you're unlucky. In the 2-player game, the witness tokens are at columns 1, 3, and 5. So that is the action that the detective can take, which is checking witnesses. So they're going to do that right now. They're going to go 1, 2, and spend 2 actions to put this perp away and gain that token and also gain a rank for themselves. That whole action costs 4 time. Let's go ahead and pull from the bag o' mobsters again and roll 3-3. Just what I was talking about before. That is the jail, no mobster. Yellow's going to go no movement. Once again, they're going to guess 3. And I've switched all the tokens. It is 2. Fantastic. They get a token and earn another rank and spend 3 time. You see how fast the turns are in this game when you know what you are going for. Roll some dice, 5 and 1. So down in the corner, which is exactly where I don't want stuff to be. But check this out, Arsonist at Large. If new mobsters are placed in any city blocks orthogonally adjacent to a fire token, place another fire token. No! That is the kind of shenanigans that this game is capable of. So I was talking junk, but green looks like they're going to have to go and be on the case. Anybody can complete an event. They are going to go. It is perfectly clear how much time it takes. It is 1 time, so they spend 2 time, and they are able to go again and move on to this space. They spend a grand total of 2 time doing that, so they're able to go again. Let's go ahead and roll them bones. 1, 3. That is nice and far away from the fire. So yay, our first gray mobster, which is going to go right there. And so green is going to mosey on over here and take this witness out. So that is going to be 3 actions in a witness row. They have earned their second witness thing, and they have progressed their rank another. I am currently unclear with the current state of the rules as to whether I can also do an event action as well as one of the standard actions, but let's say that I can. I'm going to spend another action while I'm here and eliminate this fire token. I only have 1 left. That cost green a grand total of 4 fire, and they triggered an event. The event is jailbreak. Oh, no flavor text? I told you this game didn't have a whole bunch of story. Anyway, place 1 random mobster from the bag into each empty city block orthogonally adjacent to the headquarters. All 4 blocks should have 1 mobster. Officers cannot bring in for holding at the HQ. So bring in for holding is an action that the player can take, and they can take the mobster for 2 and keep them on their card. When they bring them back to HQ, they can trade them in for one of these tokens. 3 tokens will get a attribute. However, I cannot do that right now because they're all over the place. No, they're going. And now orange has to figure out what's going on here. Because they have this fire token and they have the jailbreak to do, man, events tell you all over the place. Good thing, though, that is what police cards are for, or actually these force cards. So they're common in cooperative. I can play them, and so I'm going to take advantage right now. Calling all units. For 3 time, arrest all mobsters from your row or column to the bag. Play as an action. So it specifies play as an action. That is not like one of them anytime things. So this would be my action for the turn, which is unfortunate, but I think it's worth it to clear out some mobsters. Reason being, there was a gray mobster hiding in the area right here, which is a completely useless space. Having a lot of mobsters around will hurry up the timer of the game eventually. So I think that was worthy to get 3 mobsters back in the bag. That cost me some time on the fire, which is still firing, so hopefully that don't pay for that. All right, let's see where a new mobster comes out. They are going to come out in 5 and 2. Hey, I can go ahead and take care of a mobster and also take care of the fire. Perfect. So as you see, even after using those 3 actions, I'm still behind green. So it is orange's turn again. So what they're going to do is they're going to go 1, 2. They are in the row where there is a witness, or an informant actually, so they can take this meeple, put it back in the bag, and claim this informant token, giving them 2, and they get to pull from the police deck now. And I have not got an email back for the publisher to see whether I could also do this on the same turn that I do a regular action, so I'm just going to do that as well. I have completed Arsonist at Large. That gets discarded, and I get the reward, which is a suspect card. So the suspect card is also public, just like the police cards, and I can use this little finder to figure out that Greg Gunsmoke did not do it. Where are you, Greg Gunsmoke? My first clue. I'm very excited to understand that is my first clue. There he is. He didn't do it. And that is just in time because I have crossed the threshold and I'm about to draw another event. The event is mob hits. It's open gang war on the streets. Oh, the humanity. You see? Flavor text. I love that. Roll to place the 3 mob hit tokens in different locations. Re-roll if it is in the police headquarters. Oh, officers cannot play force cards while the mob hits are out. A perfect example of an event that really messes with you. Some of them are pretty good. Some of them you have to deal with right away. And so I'm going to end this demo playthrough on that tantalizing note. But had I kept on going, I would have rolled and I would have had hits all over the city. And it would have taken me so many actions to take care of. I would have had to take care of all my other stuff while I was doing that. You see that there is a lot of directions in which you are pulled in Tiny Epic Crimes, which is all I really want in a cooperative game. I want, clever board play, different ways to move and manage that movement, and what I call gravity. Different places around the board that are pulling my mind. I need to go here because that's efficient. I need to go there because that's a fire that I have to put out. Push, pull, push, pull. This game does that. So if you're figuring out if this game is worth it for you, I think at least on the cooperative end. I cannot speak on the competitive semi-co-op end. That's not really my taste. But on the cooperative end, it does what a basic cooperative game should do, and I will leave it up to you to figure out if that is in your taste and worth it, and worth your time and attention while it's on Kickstarter. So for now, this is Jason with the One Stop Co-op Shop, reminding you that we will see you at the next step.